Diane. Living beyond limitations, DianeF03182014living.
Good evening, Toastmasters. From the beginning, failure was not an option for my son. He was born 5 weeks early and came into the world too fast, struggling to breathe because his tiny little lungs were full of fluid. He spent 8 days in intensive care and was well enough to come home. He grew into a happy, healthy toddler until 2.5. At that time, we were told that he was speech delayed. So the testing that would go on and on, actually about 18 years, began. One of the first tests they did, and his favorite, they took chocolate pudding and painted a little mustache on his upper lip. This was really just a test to see if his tongue worked properly. Another test a few years later that he liked, they put him face down in a hammock and started it moving. He had to locate balls and put them into baskets. These early tests indicated severe limitations in auditory and tactile processing, fine motor skills, vestibular functioning, and more. At the end of 4th grade, he had a 12th grade math reasoning level and a kindergarten writing level. Because of these tests, they put him into the special ed program at the school and what would start many years of IEPs. And if you don't know, those are individualized educational programs. So really, it's just your goals and objectives for the year, and it's done yearly. These in turn led to countless sessions of occupational therapy and special tutoring. One IEP meeting stands out in my mind. It was middle school. At this meeting were Brian, my husband and myself, a school administrator, a school psychologist, the special ed teacher, and then just one of his regular teachers. That teacher started the meeting. She said, "Let's face it, Brian will never go to Cal or Stanford." I can remember vividly sitting there chanting in my mind, "Don't cry, don't cry. Whatever you do, don't cry." It is so difficult to sit year after year and listen to everything that's wrong with your child. This person that you love so much. Well, luckily, Brian doesn't believe in limitations. Last November, I tuned into the University of Nevada website and watched live as he competed in a TEDx speech competition where he spoke on educational reform. Earlier that year, his communication professor asked him, along with several other students, to create a curriculum for a new class. They were responsible for every single thing, from start to finish. That class is now being taught at the university. It was the same professor that encouraged my son to compete in the competition. So as I look back on years of meetings and IEPs, I think for some of the teachers, like that middle school teacher, IEP might actually stand for something. Anyway, I think for his college professor, it stood for inspirational, educational platform. And Brian plans to use that platform to create curriculums for future generations. Because for Brian and so many others, learning comes from doing. And stress management, conflict resolution, problem solving, and creative thinking, these are all things that need to be integrated into the school system. So, in conclusion, let's face it, Brian will not go to Cal or Stanford. But he's going to graduate this May, and he will go on to graduate school, where he will be focusing on educational reform and administration. And I leave you with a quote by Dr. Seuss. You have brains in your head, feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the one who will decide where to go. Thank you.